Welcome Dean Light, faculty, staff, family, and friends to the Department of Social Work Spring Semester Pinning and Hooding Ceremony. I also want to welcome those who are viewing this from a distance. We'll make a link available to students so that you also have an opportunity to share today's ceremonies with those who might not be able to be with us here live today. I'm Karen Lee Barkdahl. I'm in my 9th year as a faculty member here at UND and winding down my first year in the role as department chair. It's a great privilege to work with such fine students, faculty, and staff. Although I've been here a few years now, the joy and excitement of commencement day never diminishes for me. And we have the honor of celebrating your accomplishments jointly today. It is indeed a special day. For a few decades now, social work has been recognized as a profession, and to call oneself a social worker, a degree in social work is required. For the BSSW students, you officially join our profession today, and we are so pleased to welcome you to this unique and special profession. We're equally glad to welcome our new MSWs to our ranks. Many of you know me, and you know that I have a great passion for the profession of social work. And I believe it's a calling as much as it is a profession. So I got the program a little bit early, and I got to review the titles of your research papers and independent study projects, and it's wonderful to contemplate the difference I know that each and every one of you will make with your degrees. The topics are wide-ranging and diverse, as befits a field so audaciously broad that its practice encompasses individuals, families, groups, organizations, community, and policy. Also visible in your titles is the unique social justice mission of our profession, its strengths orientation, and our mandate to advocate for and with marginalized and oppressed populations. It's really affirming to see all of those elements of social work so well represented in your scholarly work. I congratulate you. You have my heartfelt congratulations on a job well done. What a journey. You're ready to join us as colleagues and to represent us well in your agencies and in our communities. My plea is that you maintain strong identities as both social workers and change agents. And if we've done our job, you think of yourselves as change agents, wherever your career paths take you. You have our confidence that you will dedicate yourselves not only to fixing problems, but to building a more humane, just, and compassionate world. Congratulations again on achieving this milestone today. Now I have the pleasure of introducing the Dean of the College of Nursing and Professional Disciplines and, so I can't do it in one breath yet, and Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs, Steve Light. Steve, hold on. You're jumping the gun here. He does deserve several rounds of applause. Steve's been our dean over the past academic year, in addition to his numerous other duties in the provost's office. It's a good thing he's an accomplished runner, and you will notice from his shoes, they serve him well indeed. I know that they have served him well in a busy and productive year, so I want to take this opportunity to say, Steve, thanks for serving us so well this academic year. While you're not a social worker, I feel that you are one at heart, and it's so wonderful to work with a dean that I feel truly exemplifies the ideals of our profession. I think we should adopt you. Thank you for also caring about and reaching out to, I'm looking at George because he knows that well, our students, and for finding time in your incredibly busy schedule to be with us today.
My, that was so gracious. Thank you, Karen Lee. I really appreciate that. And I'm thrilled to have a chance to join all of you today. If you want to adopt me, cool. We'll talk about that. Because I feel a great kinship with the profession of social work and the mission of social justice. I'm a political scientist, and I think about some of the same policy issues from just a slightly different angle. But really, when we talk about the major issues, the problems that you all tackle at an individual level or a community level or a policy level, and I missed a couple of them, sorry, they're all just similar sides of a coin. So it is a joy to join you today, and it has been a wonderful year, and I want to take my own moment to acknowledge the colleagues that I have developed over the course of the year. It has been a tremendous year, and I also have appreciated meeting many of you. And I, too, have taken a look at the projects that you have completed, and I am impressed because it adds to the body of scholarship, it adds to the body of theory, it adds to the body, ultimately, of practice and making the world a better place. And the exciting thing is that you all, at whatever levels, I'm looking at the students here. Hi, parents. You are in need. We need you. We need you in our communities. We need you for our families. We need you for our children. The baby boomer generation is aging. There are all kinds of issues related to family care, human services, and the like that are building. There are retirements coming across the board that will affect our ability to provide human services and health care. There are key parts of the country, including in North Dakota, that are uncovered and underserved. So whether it's in rural communities, or on reservations, or in the oil patch, or in some of our urban areas that are experiencing rapid growth in North Dakota and elsewhere, we need you. And the good news is you're prepared. Am I right? You've had a broad-based education here, and you've had a top-notch education at UND at whatever level you're at. I think the fact is that you're going to be relied upon not just for your heart, but your critical thinking skills, your problem-solving skills, your ability to find solutions. And it's those skills that you've acquired, not just the substance of social work and related areas, but it's the skills you've acquired that are going to serve you the best. So this is a great time for you, for your families on your journey. You have walked a long way, if you think about at whatever point you started here at UND. You have walked in others' shoes, and it's important to recognize the shoes of those who are behind you, who have supported you, and your relatives who can't be here. And you've walked together. You are a cohort, and you are the class of 2014. So I'm thrilled to have a chance to be here with you today and to walk with you in some way as you walk across the stage later today. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning. My name is Randy Nettegard, and I'm the MSW Program Director, and my role right now is one to be able to introduce our faculty speaker. And the person we're going to have speaking to you today has been a part of our department for many years in a number of different capacities, and now she's going to be joining us as our newest faculty member, and I'd like to introduce to you Yihan Chen.
I came prepared. I have notes, and I have tissue. I always cry at commencement. It's such a privilege to be here. For those who do not know me, I have the privilege of teaching what I call the bookend courses of the program. So I get to teach 257 when you're first being introduced to the theories of social work, and I get to teach seminar when you're actually in practice and you get to see how those theories are applied and implemented. And I also had the honor, oh, I'm sorry, should I, a little bit closer? Okay, all right. I've also had the honor of advising some of the students here there was a time when I actually was an advisor, and I had a chance to actually talk to students when they're trying to decide whether they want to pursue social work or not, and so that's a really privilege to be able to get to know them individually as well. So for those who do know me, I truly would not volunteer to speak in front of a large group of people. That is not my approach to anything. But I did ask Melanie if I could do this today because I have a strong attachment to the students who are here. And it's because of these multiple roles that I get to participate in. I've gotten to know them, and I care deeply about your children. See? I swear. And these young professionals who are here today. So I wanted to share some words, and I call it a true parallel process because you guys are students, and for those who do know, I'm a student also, so I'm equally striving to finish exams and exhausted and writing papers and doing all of that. But unlike you, I am an old student. And so being an older student, it means that everything moves more slowly, but I look at my educational journey a little bit more deliberately and carefully, and I wanted to share that with you. And I'd like to call this The Journey to the Emerald City. I always have to have a title, sorry, that's just kind of how it rolls. So I don't know if you noticed, but I am Asian. And so many times I ask myself, how did I get here? I truly love this profession that does not covet material wealth. I live in a community where there are no dim sum restaurants, and that is the saddest thing. If you guys know what dim sum is, these are little Chinese dumplings that are just wonderful. Some families go to church on Sunday mornings. My family would go to dim sum and we eat. I married a man I love who is not Asian. I have children who I encourage them to learn German at home. So I have broken almost all the Asian rules in the handbook that is out there. So many times I do ponder what's going on with my brain. So I decided to go back to school. And I really thought at first that going back to school and becoming educated meant to be clever. And that was what the purpose was. So that journey began with me feeling that I needed to be the scarecrow. I needed to find my brain. And as you discover through your coursework that you cannot be clever unless you're clever about something. And you discover that something through the papers that you write, through the presentations you make, through the communities that you serve. And this is when you discover your heart, that you cannot be clever unless you also have your heart in place as well. Well, in the course of delivering what you do know to others, you receive in the discipline called critical feedback or constructive feedback, and you seem to hear sometimes the critical more than the feedback. And you also learn in this journey that you need to be incredibly brave because you're exposing what you think and what you love for others to assess and sometimes criticize and judge. So in this journey, not only are you the scarecrow and the tin man, you are part lion, cowardly lion, trying to overcome that fear. So here you are today, and you have arrived at the Emerald City. And in this version of the story, the Emerald City has some pink in it, so just so you know, it's a little bit. And you're able to pull that curtain aside. And what you thought was the wizard that you were looking for is truly just a man. Because I hope what you see today is that it's not about the arriving, it is about the journey to get here. And that I want you to see also is that you are here because you wanted to be here. Because though I'm sure all your lectures were awesome, right? And I'm very confident those attendance policies were so motivational. You're here because you willed it. You decided the moment you joined this program you were going to succeed, and you did, and that's why you're here. So hopefully today you realize that you had the capacity all along to get to this point. And so in part, you're Dorothy as well. All right? So these are all these elements that I hope as you think upon it, you've acquired and cultivated in your journey to the Emerald City. And I just feel such an honor to be here and to share this with you. There are so many more cities to visit. Please know and remember, you can think critically, you have the compassion to care deeply, you have the ability to risk when it needs to be done, and you can always trust in yourself. Thank you.
It's hard to follow Yi-Han, who is the heart of social work in so many ways in our program, and we're so fortunate to have her here. And Melanie Sage, I'm the undergraduate program director, and I'm happy to address you and welcome you here today. I was speaking to a student right before we got started, who is sharing about his journey as a first-generation college graduate, which really changes the course of future generations. The number one predictor of whether a child will go to college is whether their parents have been. So really, more than anything else, more than income or where they live, this is a big deal for future graduations that you're all sitting here today. We have people sitting here, students who have been in school since kindergarten. They have never taken a break, and they've gone through these years of school. Some of those will be joining us right away in the fall in our graduate program. So it's really quite a journey, and really an important monumentous event today that you're making a step, that you're earning your college degree. And we know that you're doing that with the support of so many people who have helped you get to this place, and so we thank you all. I have the privilege to work with so many bright and talented and outgoing students, and it really just is a blessing every day to say, this is something that as faculty we get to help shelter and honor and work with people who are excited to move into this field. And I could say something wonderful about very many of our students. But right now I have the privilege of welcoming our undergraduate student speaker, George Girout. George is a returning student who has made being a student in our social work program really his full-time job. As a student, as a representative in our student groups and committees. He's sitting on the Dean Search Committee right now, and with the only student on the committee representing our whole college and how we choose the next leader. And he will be joining us in the graduate program in the fall, and has served us well in so many places, so many ways. We know he's going to be one of our shining stars in the field, and I'm happy to invite him to the podium.
Thank you, Melanie. Wow. Having Yehan and Melanie go before you set the bar really, really high. It's quite an honor to be standing up here. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be sharing this time with you all. Friends and family, this journey that we've been on has been very arduous. But one thing that has come to pass and has developed along this journey is a sense of community. And before today, when I was thinking about writing a speech, which I didn't, by the way, I just wrote down a couple of definitions, but I was thinking about community and what that means. And usually we think about it geographically. We live in a community. But not only is it a place to live, but it's also something that develops. It develops as part of a fellowship. It develops as part of something that we share. Our attitudes, our emotions. Really, community is something that should be strived for and can be attained. And it's something that we as a group have been able to do. And along that journey, to get to this place where we feel like a community, we have shared tears. We have been wet. We have worked hard. We have just done so much together. We have been through so many papers. We have countless lectures. Oh gosh, the list just goes on and on and on and on. And then to think the graduate school is coming in the fall, it's like, oh, I'm going to take a break. But no, being the crazy young spring chicken that I am, I'm going to undertake my ISP work this summer to try and get a little bit of a jump on it. But, you know, each and every one of these graduates here today have had a very, very special place within the student body. They have all played a role. They have all made the Department of Social Work what it is. Not to mention our faculty, who have also done an absolutely amazing job. For us to have the privilege to have such great people go before us and teach us is absolutely incredible. You know, Yehan mentioned that she plays this parallel role and she had this unique opportunity. Well, For me, when I first came into the Department of Social Work, I started with Yeehawn. And ironically, I ended with Yeehawn. And I know that many of us together have had a similar journey. And it's just something that can be cherished forever. When I look at everybody's face, I just have amazingly warm feelings. For the bachelor students, we made it. For the master's students, you guys are ready to launch on even bigger and better things. So with that, I just want to say thank you, congratulations to all those who are joining us today. Thank you so much for being a part of this great time. Without the supports of all of the friends, family, children that are here today, there's no way that this would be possible. For my family, really, to be able to be as engaged as I have, it's really a reflection of my wife, my daughter, my sons, my mom, and I know that many of my colleagues, student colleagues here today, we all have similar things that drive us. And so for those that are driving us and supporting us, on behalf of our entire cohort, thank you very, very much.
Well, now I get to introduce the MSW student, soon-to-be MSW graduate speaker. And what she brings is a reminder to all of us that, that even though I'd like to think that when somebody is in school, that's all they have in their life, right? If we wanted you to have a life for a family, we would have issued it to you. But funny thing is, people have lives and families, and people get married. And so Nikki, formerly Eining, now Nikki Canagator, is going to be coming and presenting today.
Good morning, everybody. I want to start by welcoming everyone. I know the rest of the faculty and other speakers have. Our family, our friends, all the faculty, my classmates, the undergrad students, and then of course everyone watching online. I was telling Roger before we came up, I wish for those of you who do distance learning, we get to do it on Adobe, and it's just seeing everyone's face on the computer. So I wish there was a big screen of everyone's faces, because that would fit exactly what the past 3.5 years have been like for us. Those of you who don't know me, I'm formerly Nikki Eining. I just got married 2 weeks ago, as Randy had indicated. I'm part of the concentration students, so it's been 3.5 years for me. I know everyone is different. Some are 2, some are undergrad, so it's been about 4. But the countdown is finally 0. And so the joke behind that is one of our classmates started a countdown when we began. And it's so amazing that one day we looked and it was under 1,000 days, and now it's finally 0. So we are here and we have made that. Of course, I had a whole speech planned kind of in my head, but yesterday something happened and it just kind of changed my way to speak today. And I live in Huron, South Dakota, and I do currently work as a counselor there. And I go into the schools, and we're just winding down with the school year. And so yesterday I went in and did an activity in the behavior classroom, and we wanted to make a book. We made a book as a class. What is the advice that we have for us for next year? How do we survive next year? What helped us do our best? And the first thing one of the little girls said, who was 7 years old, she said, for me to do my best, no one else needs to die. And so I don't mean to make the day sad or make the speech sad, but that is what we do. As social workers, this is what we do. You know, this is real, and that's our everyday. We support people who are struggling with things in their lives and helping them along their journey, and that's real for us. And so when we talk about, you know, what is a social worker and different things like that, or as the faculty like to do, recite the NASW Code of Ethics to us or make us remember every single word. And it's so interesting because when they say you know, you need to know this, you need to memorize this, you need to know these codes of ethics. As you read them, you know, that's almost our entire value system as people. Because when you become a social worker, it's a part of who you are. It is who you are. There's a reason why we've joined this profession. There's a reason why we do this. Because we want to help people. We want to advocate for those who need our voice. And so I'm thankful that there's such a large group of you, because going on today, we truly have the ability to change people's lives. And so what I want to remind you guys is that there will be highs and there will be lows, and there will be really good days when we've seen an accomplishment, and there will be really bad days when we question, why did I choose this profession? Or what am I doing? Am I even helping anybody? And it's important to remember that that we will have those days, and that that's okay. Because at the end of the day, we do make a difference. And so it's important to remember that. And I hope the faculty remembers that as well. Because without you guys, we technically wouldn't be here. So I'm very thankful for you. And so I do want to kind of leave you guys with a couple of thoughts. From Greg Louganis, never underestimate your ability to make someone's life better. And that's truly important to remember. Sometimes, you know, we doubt ourselves, and that's us being human. But always remember that we do have the ability to help somebody. And then from Proverbs, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. And that truly is what we will be doing. And so I wanted to leave you with those thoughts. And also for the distance students who are watching, we want to leave you with a nice little way to go out. So I'm going to call on Brett for help.
We're going to do this together?
Yes, we could do this together.
Right. Instead of I, should we start with we're?
Sure,
Yes,
yeah.
okay, here we go. And this is for the folks on the cameras and
Yay!
for everyone. And anyone who knows the song, some of
Please
you might
sing
recognize
along.
it. Join on. We're so glad we had this time together just to tell a joke or sing a song. And now before we know it, all our time is over. Now it's time to say so long. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. What do we do after that? We can all go home now, right? No, we can't. And I won't sing to you. It wouldn't please anybody. What I will say is that we consider you our own after you graduate from our program. We want you to stay connected to us. We take our role so seriously in supporting you and mentoring you, and we hope that this relationship is a long one. A longtime faculty member of ours, Thomasine Heitkamp, said something that we all very much resonated with on graduation day and the many graduations that she spoke at. She said, "This is our payday. This is our payday. As faculty, we consider this the real payoff for all the work, all those papers we graded, all those B's that we had to defend ourselves against when we put on your papers." So this is the moment to really say, man, it was all worth it, right? It was worth it for us. It's worth it for you. Several people who have spoken today have made comments about how this is not just a profession that where you get a degree so you can go complete some tasks, but really a calling in many ways. We're called to this work because we care about people and we want to make the world a better place. But it is also not a profession of poverty. There's a strong need, many jobs available. Grand Forks Child Welfare is hiring with a starting salary of $50,000 a year for bachelor's level graduates. So don't think that you've helped pay the tuition for your children who you're sending off to make a minimum wage salary. That's not the truth at all. I'm going to begin the pinning ceremony now, where we'll welcome our graduates who will be pinned by their advisors. If you'd like to follow along in your program, you will see that we have several pieces of information listed here. The program starts with the undergraduate students, and there's seminar research topics. These research papers that they wrote as part of their field practicum are listed, as well as the place that they completed their field hours. All of our students go into a social services agency and do guided work. This is not just volunteer work handing out food at a pantry, but really these students went out and took leadership roles that were guided by a set of practice skills that we wanted them to develop in these placements. They met every single week with somebody who holds a degree in social work to talk about the profession. They met with faculty throughout the semester for guidance through the program, and we take this work very seriously. They've done a tremendous amount of work to get to this point. This pinning part of the ceremony is named after Myrna Haga, a longtime retired faculty member who is much loved by faculty and students, and who was especially appreciative of the work of the undergraduate students and really tried to mentor them along the way. So in her honor, we'd like to begin introducing our new graduates. Each advisor will be called up to present the pin to their advisee. And as we do this, you're welcome to step into the aisleway to take a picture of your graduate being pinned. If you're in our overflow seating area and have an undergraduate student graduating, then you're also welcome to send somebody over to step into the aisleway up here so you can really get a good picture. I know we're a full house, but we want you to be able to capture this special event when we call your graduate's name, and we'll take it slowly and give a little pause so you can get a little shot in so we can get everybody. We'll take a brief pause after the undergraduate students are pinned to invite graduate people up to do the same. So we'll get to everybody. Thank you. And we will start by recognizing Heather Annis, and her advisor is Barb Kramer. Heather did her field at State Creek Counseling, and her research paper is titled Native American and Culturally Competent Social Work Practice. Our next all of our graduates will be greeted by our faculty and welcome to the profession, and we'll ask you to hold your applause till the end when we get everybody through. Thank you. Noel Bachman is also advised by Barb Kramer and did her placement at All True, and her paper is titled The Homeless Mentally Ill. Emily Barr will be pinned by Lonnie Moen, and she did her placement at the Grand Forks Senior Center, and the title of her research paper is Unmet Needs of Elders in Rural Communities. Karen Borgen is pinned by Dishana Jayasundara and did her placement at LaGrave. Her research paper is The Effects of Mixed Public Housing on the Elderly and Non-Elderly Persons with Disabilities. Sarah Bolger will be pinned by Barb Kramer. She also did her placement at All True, and her research paper was on Medicaid expansion, filling gaps. Lisa S. Paseth, am I right? Did her placement at Valley Memorial, is pinned by Brett Weber. Her research paper is Culture Change Beyond the Medical Model. Rebecca Grimey is pinned by Lonnie Moen, and she did her placement at the Ruth Myers Adolescent Treatment Center, the research paper on trauma-centered care. Chelsea Henderson is pinned by Ken Flanagan, did her placement at Missing Kids with a research paper on parental child abduction. Get a good one.
Wait.
Cassidy Hollins is also pinned by Ken Flanagan. Did her placement at Northwestern Mental Health Center, and her research paper is titled Stages of Addiction Recovery. Is Total Recovery Possible? Kinsey Jansen Woolley is pinned by Brett Weber, and did her placement at Douglas Place. Her research paper is titled Zohydro. Makes you wonder, huh? Sarah Jefferson is pinned by Lonnie Moen and completed her placement at Prairie St. John, and she's not here. George Girout. George is pinned by Andrew Quinn. He did his placement at Parents Learning and Understanding Supports Program, and his research paper is titled Wraparound Case Management, Difficulties Within Rural Systems. Logan Casa McManus is pinned by Andrew Quinn. She did her placement at Path Treatment, Foster Care, and Family-Based Services. And her research paper is titled Independent Living Programs in Youth, Aging Out of Foster Care. Jordan Conzi is pinned by Brett Weber. Her placement was at Prairie Harvest Foundation, and her research paper is Comorbidity and Medications of Prairie Harvest Mental Health. Is it Conzi? Oh. Nicole Krause is pinned by Dishana, and did her placement at the YWCA, the research paper Perception of the Homelessness. And Brooke Kubash completed her placement at Wright CSS, and her research paper is The Booming Autism Population and the Possible Causes of Autism. Suzanne Landsberg is pinned by Lonnie, and her placement was at Sanford Health. The research paper titled No Fine Line of Racism. And she's not with us today. Gregory LeBeau is pinned by Barb Kramer. He did his placement at Turtle Mountain Child Welfare, and his research paper is titled Foster Care on the Reservation. Sarah Martin is pinned by Randy, and her placement was at Grand Forks Public Schools. Her research paper is titled Education Impact of Homeless Children, the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. Alexa Mazahari is pinned by Dishana, and her placement was at Lutheran Social Services New Americans program. Her research paper titled Refugee Mental Health. Jeremiah Neal is pinned by Randy. He did his placement at the North Dakota Brain Injury Network, and his research paper is titled The Hidden Disability. Dawn Nygaard Coplin is pinned by Andrew. She completed her placement at Parents Learning and Understanding Supports program. Her research paper was The Effect of Homelessness on Children. Rachel Ozowski completed her placement at the Lutheran Social Services New American program, is pinned by Dishana, and her research paper is titled Refugee Resettlement in the United States. Deanna Rainbow completed her placement at St. Joseph's Social Care and Thrift Store. And she led the school lunch program. Her research paper is titled Homelessness in the Grand Forks Community, and I get to pin her today. Brenna Ranstrom is pinned by Lonnie. She completed her placement at Marshall County Social Services, and her research paper was titled Developmentally Disabled Adults. Leanne Ruland is pinned by Barb Kramer, and she completed her placement at St. Joseph's Social Care and Thrift Store. Her research paper is titled The Cost of Being Poor, Forced Resilience on Supplemental Food Programs. We'll do it again. Taylor Sandberg is pinned by Dishana and completed her placement at Parents Learning and Understanding Supports program. Her research paper is titled Homelessness of Women with Mental Illness. Kaylee Shear is also pinned by Dishana and completed her placement at Head Start. Her research paper, The Importance of Cultural Competence in Social Work with English Language Learners. Jennifer Schmidt is also pinned by Dishana and completed her placement at Becker County Human Service Center. Her research paper titled Dual Relationships in Rural Social Work. Mary Paz Setter is pinned by Lonnie. Her placement was at Andrew Residence, and her research paper titled Stigma and Mental Illness. Sarah Suda is not here, but completed her placement at PL US Parent Learning and Understanding Supports. Rachel Tack is pinned by Brett Weber and is not here today and completed her placement at Douglas Place. Eleanor Tapp is pinned by Ken, completed her placement at Woodside Village, and her research paper is titled Interventions for Dementia Behaviors. You can see the incredible variety of research topics and placement types and the important relationships our students have with faculty as well. At this moment, you may feel like, you may even wonder, like I have at moments, are they really letting me go out in the world of social work and do these things? Do I really know anything yet? And what I will tell you is that if you have that feeling from time to time, it's a good thing. It's a trigger that we really care about our work, really want to do the best. And you will get out there and somebody will ask you a question and you'll say, hey, I do know something about this. I can tell you in the about 15 years since I received my first social work degree, every year I've had the opportunity to learn something new and to take on new challenges. And as early as this morning have gone, really? They think that I'm supposed to know something about this? So continue to be challenged. We welcome you as colleagues to our profession. Stay in touch with us. It's very important. We will also give you, on your way out today, the ABCs of social work, a sweet little note that was put together by Myrna Haga, who I mentioned earlier. And this is something for you to pin in your new office space, to carry with you, to remind you of some of the values of our profession, like justice and mentorship and pride and the importance of our clients. Congratulations.
Okay, so now we're going to move to the hooding portion of this. One of the things that we would like to do is to give people an opportunity who are in the overflow room, who are here for the MSW students, a chance to come. So if there's anybody, I don't want to see a mass exodus, but if there's anybody that is okay with moving out so that they can come in, that'd be great. If we could do that really briefly, but not the students. The students do not get out of class early here. So. got a couple
Do you want us to stay put?
Please, please, if you don't mind. It'll just be a minute.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I know my mom needed it.
I'm naturally kind of nervous, and I don't like to speak to large crowds, so this is the only way I could figure to kind of make it a little smaller. Yeah, so, no. Okay, that sounds good. This is one of those situations where it's a wonderful challenge to have so many family and friends come to support our graduates. And so I've got a couple words to say, so the faculty, you can stand if you want. You know, you can sit down. I promise not to be too long-winded. But you can see that I might stick out a little bit among faculty because I seem to have a desire to, or more of a fascination for academic regalia than my colleagues. So I'd like to blame that on having a little bit different doctoral degree, but you know, I don't know, maybe it's just me and my personality. But what I want to talk about today is a little bit about the master's hood, because this is a hooding ceremony. And so I thought, you know, I'll give you just a very brief history lesson. And there's no test afterwards. Unless you start to fall asleep, then we might have to do that. So the hood, the master's and doctoral hood, was something that actually started back in the 1200s. And it was used in large part because hoods were used by all classes and by men and women. And back in the 1200s, that was a big deal. Now, granted, back in those days, the hoods were not only used to show that you were a graduate of a particular academic program, but they also worked very nice to cover your ears and to keep your head warm. And they worked nice as a kind of makeshift satchel. So when you're done with this, if you want to go to the mall and put your purse in your hood, you can go ahead and see if that works out. It may not work quite so well. But the hood is also something that is distinctive in its colors as well. And so it's something where on the outside of the hood, it's the velvet color that is based on your degree. So you get a different color for your degree, and then the inside is based on your school colors. And so you'll notice that the inside is green and pink. And many people don't realize that the school colors at UND are green and pink, not green and white or green and black or whatever you see. I personally think the men's hockey team should be wearing green and pink, but you know, what do you do? So another thing about this is that back in the day, the bachelor's degree students also wore a hood, but it was not lined with anything. And master's and doctoral degree graduates were able to wear theirs it was lined with fur. It helped keep the ears a little bit warmer, helped keep your shoulders a little bit warmer. And up here, we had to move to down coats instead of this. So what do you do? If there are some bachelor's degree students here that are of royal blood, are sons of members of parliament, or with incomes of 60 marks or more, you can wear a hood, or you could back in the day. So I'm sorry if we have royalty among you, and I didn't offer you a hood to wear. So the whole point with this little history lesson here is just to talk about how the dress that we wear here signifies an accomplishment. And what I'm hoping, and the reason why I made all of you bachelor's graduates now sit here, is because I'm hoping that this inspires you to looking forward to coming back and being part of our graduate program and continuing on with your education at some point in time, if you're not already set to go in the fall. Now, our MSW program has 3 different cohorts every year that we take in. 2 come in on our distance online program, and 1 comes in with our campus program. And depending on how you finagle your classes, depends on how you or when you end up graduating. In the spring, ironically, most of our graduates are from our distance program. And so we have a number of graduates here, but most of the graduates in the program were not able to come because they had to come from places like New York or obviously a large distance and weren't able to make it for this. So at any rate, so that's our cohort here constitutes mostly distance MSW students. And I just think it's really exciting that you all took the time to come here and to drive from the distances that you came. So without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get started with our ceremony. Now you can rise. And the first person on our list is not able to come with us today, Hannah Albertson. Her advisor was Carol Schneeweiss, and hers was a therapeutic use of hippotherapy for children. That was her independent study title. Now, our next person on the list is able to come, Cassie Body. Roger Johnson is her advisor, and her ISP title is Group Programming in an Inpatient Psychiatric Unit. And I think we should applaud after we
Oh, sorry.
We're good?
We'll get it later.
All right. Our next graduate is Ashley Burrell. I was her advisor, and her ISP title is Understanding and Treating the Comorbidity Between Substance Abuse Disorders and Eating Disorders in Adult Women. Our next graduate, who is not able to make it here today, is Erica Burt. Her advisor was Deshana, and her ISP title, A View of Truancy in Public Schools Across America, an Analysis of the Risks and Interventions. Megan Busian is our next graduate, and her advisor is Roger Johnson. And her ISP title is Dialectical Behavior Therapy and Effective Treatment for Borderline Personality Disorder. Oh, we have to come through the room. Steve Dillman is the next graduate. Bruce Reeves was his ISP advisor, and his ISP was Social Inequality and Gun Violence in the United States. Sharon Draper is not able to be here too. Her advisor was Andrew Quinn, and her ISP title was The Vital Need to Attain Permanency for Children in Care. Thank you. Nikki Canigator. Now it's out of sequence, but that's right. Her advisor is Carol Schneeweiss, and her ISP title is The Best Practice for Engagement, Inclusion of Parents in Therapeutics Process. Heidi Erickson was not able to make it today. Her advisor was Bruce Reeves, and her ISP title was Best Practices for Social Workers Treating Young Children with Gender Issues. All right, Alex Jimigzek. Oh, I just blew that, didn't I? Okay, maybe that was it. Hey, Alex. I emailed you to ask you how to pronounce your name, but I did it too late. Andrew Quinn was her advisor, and her ISP title was the Astor Learning Center Day Student Program Manual. Stacy Johnson was not able to make it. Her advisor is Brett Weber, and her ISP title was Young Voices, Self-Advocacy Among South Dakota's Foster Youth. Vanessa Lands Clark was also not able to make it today. I was her advisor, and her ISP title was an underserved population, depression, anxiety, and disordered eating amongst antepartum and postpartum women. Natalie Markison. Her advisor was Andrew Quinn, and her ISP was How to Build a Grassroots Campaign, a look into the organization of the Clothesline Project. Sandra Milliken was not able to come today. Her advisor was Roger Johnson, and her ISP is an effective early intervention approach for children living in poverty at risk for mental illness. Oops. Got to switch pages. Holly Marash was not able to make it today as well. I was her advisor, and her ISP title was Community Gardening for Social Work, a case example for enhancing food bank recipient access to fresh produce. Kathy Mosier is here today, and her advisor is Brett Weber. Oh, Melanie Sage. Jeez, I'm missing. Sorry. Wow, you shrunk, Brett. And her ISP is using the patient-aligned care teams approach in veteran primary health care. Well done. Tiffany Nunez is not able to make it today, and her advisor was Brett Weber. Her ISP title was Civil Rights and Sexual Freedoms, Responsible Education Programs for Persons with Developmental Disabilities. All right, Leah Youngamoy. Okay. I even practiced that one. Her advisor is Brett Weber, and her ISP title was Her Rebirth After Perinatal Loss, Utilizing Narrative Art Therapy for Grieving Mothers. Karen Rollins was not able to be here today. Her advisor, Ken Flanagan, and her ISP title, A Comprehensive Review of Prolonged Grief Disorder Among Bereaved Long-Term Caregivers, the Prevalence, Prevention, and Treatment. Christina Smith, not able to make it today. Her advisor, Andrew Quinn, her ISP title, The Impact of Quality of Life on Individuals with Developmental Disabilities, Decreasing Undesirable Behavior by Increasing Quality of Life. Valerie Smith is also not able to make it today. Melanie Sage is her advisor, and her ISP title, A Grant Proposal for Art-Assisted Activities in Juvenile Correctional Facilities. Jess Steinbrenner was able to make it today. Brett Weber is her advisor, and her ISP title was Exploring Hope, the Role of Hope for Rural Family Care Partners of Persons with Alzheimer's Disease. Barb Turner was not able to make it today. Her advisor was Roger Johnson, and her ISP title, Trauma-Informed Care in Community-Based Mental Health, a review of the literature. Kelly Vogel, also not able to make it today, was advised by Roger, and her ISP title was A Closer Look at the Evidence Base for Treating Trauma Within Residential Juvenile Justice Facilities. Tina Uller was also not able to make it. Ken Flanagan is her advisor, and her ISP was the effectiveness of CBT when paired with mindfulness techniques in the treatment of depression and anxiety symptoms in adults receiving mental health services. Heather Wallen was able to make it today. Karen Lee Barkdale is her advisor, and her ISP title was The Debates Surrounding Sexual Addiction and Accompanying Recommendations to a Faith-Based Organization. All right. And last but not least, Victoria Welch. Her advisor was Brett Weber, and her ISP was Lost in Traffic, recognizing and responding to the needs of foster children overlooked in the human trafficking discourse. And let's just have one more round of applause for all our great graduates. Yeah. So we have concluded, and you're welcome to go into the room next door for light refreshments. Stay around for pictures or whatever, but thank you so much for coming, and have a wonderful day.